I'm actually from the LGBT community. I'm from a queer women's group called Sayuni.
I'm Leong Zian. I'm from leongzian.com, but today I am representing Marua, Singapore Human Rights NGO.
My name is Ravi Philemon. I'm a blogger. I blog at raviphilemon.net.
Hi, my name is Zheng Xi. I am a co-founder of Online Citizen. By day, I am a lawyer.
My name is Roy Nung. I am the blogger of The Hard Truths and My Right to Love. I'm Damien. I'm a young activist and have been for quite a while and representing young people today.
Hi, I'm Elaine B. I'm a freelance writer and editor. I'm an editor at Public House. That's it.
Okay, first question. Who wants to shoot? Please tell us where you are from, okay, before you ask the question. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth from Yahoo Singapore. My question is, are you in touch with government representatives and, is there any dialogue going on at the moment?
Anyone wants to take that question? No, we're not. No one has reached out to us. Unfortunately, I think very few people will reach out to in the process of crafting these regulations. We hope that changes, and we hope we can have a discussion about how to remove the licensing regime.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tessa from 3 Times. You guys, most of you probably know me. Can I just check, what is next for you guys after this protest? Will there be more protests? Will there be more online blackouts?
Okay, so what we're planning moving forward is really to continue raising public awareness. We're going to continue raising public awareness because these regulations were not passed with consultation, were not passed and run by the public. Until today, very few people in Singapore know what these regulations are about and why they are so dangerous. So we intend to continue explaining how they could impact community websites and individual bloggers in the days to come. And of course, we want to reach out to our MPs also and elected representatives and tell them why this legislation is very problematic.
Hi, I'm Rachel from Today newspaper. The next consultation coming out will be involving the change to the Broadcasting Act for overseas registered websites. What do you hope from them?
Ian? Well, you asked the senior citizen, I was dozing off already. Can you repeat your question, please? No, I heard your question, okay. Yeah. Today I'm wearing the hat for Marua, Human Rights NGO in Singapore. So of course, any legislation, be it Broadcasting Act or whatever, we hope to see and to ensure that it follows the principles as declared in the ASEAN Human Rights Declaration that all ASEAN governments have signed in November last year, particularly in the area of freedom of speech, and also with reference to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I cannot remember the particular article, but you will see there is something about freedom of expression as well.
Bertha?
Hi, I'm Bertha Henson from the Breakfast Network. I understand that Be My Internet Group is looking for a revocation of the regulations. Would you, in the process, also be considering some kind of subsidiary regulations more suitable for the online community that you could also offer in place? That's because I see that it might be very difficult for the government to climb down.
I think most bloggers will not be against regulation, because when you have hate speech, when there's bullying going on, you definitely need regulation to curb such kind of behavior. So I think none of us here are against total no to regulation. But what we feel is what we already have is enough to curb such behavior, and it may be too much. Maybe you should even scale back a little bit. But if you think a new regulation or an act is important, there's a process to do it. I mean, go to the people, consult the people, debate it in parliament. This regulation was passed through without any of these process, and that's why we are saying revoke it.
Bertha, so just to follow on from Ravi and to put this current debate in context, a few years ago, the government convened AIMS, the Advisory Committee on New Media. AIMS actually recommended liberalizing internet regulations somewhat. For instance, they said that websites should not be responsible for user-generated comments and liable in defamation. Okay, so we still believe that deregulation is important. So the first step is withdrawing the current set of regulations, but then we need to have a real discussion about rolling back some of the restrictions of freedom of speech online. Right? They are already quite strict. The Sedition Act, contempt of court, the most liberal defamation laws in the Commonwealth. So we need to start with withdrawing the licensing regime and then have a genuine discussion about further deregulation, which was where we were at actually 5 years ago. Next.
I have a personal wish. Whatever it is, new regulation, change old regulation, or terminate the regulation, it must work towards making our press freedom ranking better. We dropped 14 places. So I don't care what you do. Bring up our press freedom ranking.
Thank you. Next issue.
Okay, I'm from the online citizen. I would like to ask the online citizen in public house if I dare ask Bertha from Breakfast Network, what are your future plans in light of this new legislation?
I think Bertha will be more than happy to answer the question later. So now we stick to TOC and public house.
The first thing I would like to say that this protest is just the beginning. It's not the climax, it's not the end. It is the start of a sustained campaign for the withdrawal of MDA's licensing regime. We will reveal more details of our concrete actions and steps. They will include things like encouraging people to lobby their MPs so that MPs can push for legislation change in Parliament. It will include perhaps encouraging a dialogue between us and MDA with the view of withdrawing the legislation. So you will see more from us in time to come. And for now, as far as public house is concerned, it's business as usual.
Bravo! Anyone from TOC wants to answer Issue's question?
Protest. One more.
I think Elaine said it. It's business as usual. For us, the situation is a bit different because our statistics show that we do meet the requirements. We have 150,000 to 200,000 views, unique views a month. The majority of these come from Singapore. So it's not been explained to us yet why these regulations have been selectively applied. As and when the government decides to be uniform and apply it to us, then we will have to reconsider how to proceed, because $50,000 is a lot of money.
Andrew, can I just add something? things here on the subject of business as usual. You know, I've been making fun of people almost every other day for 10 over years. Nothing ever happened to me. All of a sudden on April 20th, everybody is calling me. You are in the news, you're on the radio. Government slam blogger for what you wrote about Pulau Ubin. You might have noticed for 1 month I hardly wrote anything on my blog. I'm a senior citizen, I cannot take this out of stress, you know. Whether business as usual, I don't know. If tomorrow again they say, oh, blogger slam, you know, in the news, maybe I will stop writing and retire for good luck.
Hello, hi, my name is Yue. I'm from Lianhe Zaobao. So, Mr. Chu, you mentioned just now that you will continue to raise awareness. So, will you be holding any more physical protests? And also, how long does it take for you to organize this?
Oh, you want to let them know?
I think the next step, now that awareness has been raised by our blackout, which drew more than 150 participating websites, and the turnout today, which far exceeded our expectations, what we want to do moving forward is really focus on public education and telling our MPs why this law is so dangerous. Right? We still trust that our members of parliament will turn up in July, in the July sitting, and express our concerns and call for withdrawal. As to how long it took to put this together, I think it's quite remarkable. Why don't I let Roy explain really what a short time frame we had to put things together and how it worked, and really how this was quite spontaneous and exciting, right?
Well, as you know, the licensing ruling was only announced last week. So we had less than about a week to actually organize this. And to ensure that this is successful, we need event planners, we need marketeers, we need people with different skill sets. So all of us here, other than bloggers, we have to chip in with the different skills that we have. You could see the marketing that was going on very strongly. You could also see the logistics aspects. These are all not possible without the support without the collaboration of all of us involved as well.
I just want to add that in that short space of time, we have 4,000 signatures for the petition online. We had more than almost 2,000 people indicating that they will come to this event on Facebook, that they will come or they may come. And we have more than 173 blogs that took part in the blackout, right? And today we had our numbers of today attendance at a high 2,000 people. Yeah, so it's 2,000 to 2,005 today. So I think those numbers speak for themselves.
Andrew, you might be add something. Since we are the blackout, I want to share a funny anecdote with you. I'm senior citizen IT literate. So when I look at the instructions to blackout on Thursday, I'm stressed, you know. So I managed to ask somebody to help me. As it turned out, you go to my website during the blackout, it was a white out, don't know why. Only white, but no black.
Okay, next question. Anyone? The regulation is also quite peculiar in that it also forbids content, homosexuality and all that, right? So, you know, Jean is here to answer if you have a question on that.
Sean from the Asian Observer. This question has been bugging me since the start of your campaign, and I'm hoping you guys can answer this. When you wrote your FAQ, one of the things that stuck out was that you said that the government has acted in bad faith and that we shouldn't trust the government. But you indicated that we can trust you to keep them in check. In fact, today, even most of you stood up there and said you are here to hold the government in check. So my question is, who watches the watchman? Who is there to keep you guys in check?
See, the internet is, even among us, there is no uniformity of report and how things should be done. We check each other. Just a couple of days ago, Chelsea and I had a misunderstanding about this event. That's how we check each other. That's how the internet moderates and keeps each other in check. And that is why we say that we can trust us, because the us is all of you.
And to clarify, Sean, just to confirm and put on record, we have not said that we distrust our government. What we have said is the government has said they don't trust us by passing these regulations. We are asking for them to renew that faith when they sit in July, to send a clear signal that they trust the people of Singapore. And this is a movement. This is a movement of individuals. This is not a movement with leaders. It's not a movement that's top down. And just as we say different things when we're on stage and have different points of view, other people on the internet which we do not represent, let's make it very clear, we don't speak for the internet. The internet is fully capable of speaking for itself.
Also, let me clarify that we are not the only group which is against the licensing ruling. There are many other groups which are also fighting against the ruling and asking for the ruling to be removed. So we are not the only group. There are many other groups. And I think this is what we really want in Singapore, where there's community movement, where the government consults the people consolidate themselves and make the decisions and actions as to what should be done next.
The best check is you, the people of Singapore. And since we're on the subject of trust, why do you think there's so much in the media nowadays of a lack of trust of public institutions? Because as long as you don't have transparency and accountability, how can there be trust? It's not just the internet, it's everywhere. Every time you watch the parliamentary reply, they reply but they never answer the question. I mean, I can talk for another hour.
I just like to say, opinion on the internet is not uniform. So people like Bertha hit us for the first petition FAQ we put out, and that's what she's trained to do as a journalist who's now gone offline. She's taking her tough questions and she's putting it to us, and that's fair game. That's how free information works.
I just wanted to add, a free and open press is the best check and balance you can have. For all sides, for the government, for opposition, everyone in between, and all sectors of society.
Thank you.
On Young Suu Kyi is doing that in Myanmar.
That's a question.
Sorry, you can ask a question. Jacob mentioned that. Jacob said that he basically said in his reply to media earlier this week that eventually there'll be nothing wrong and nothing will happen, and he hopes that the netizens who have been criticizing or complaining about this would have the intellectual honesty to admit it. So what is your response to that, and what do you make of him saying that?
4,000 already signed the petition.
First, the wrong has already been committed. The wrong has already been committed. Legislation threatening regulations have been passed. So let's not fall into this wait and see whether things are going to get worse game. Let's talk about what's already wrong and try and fix it. So we hope, conversely, that those in power have the intellectual honesty to admit this was a horrible mistake.
If the government doesn't want to consult the people, there are enough surveys online which has already been conducted, which shows that people do not want internet regulation. In fact, the MDA conducted their own survey, which also says that 54% of Singaporeans think that the current regulations in 2010 were sufficient. the people do not want the internet to be regulated. There's also another survey by, I'll give you the name later, Black something, which also said that the internet shouldn't be regulated. So this is also a survey conducted among Singaporeans. Now I'll bring you to another point. In 2007, when the government talked about how they will not use the ruling 377A against the people, in 2010 they did. They backtracked and they... Okay, so the thing is, if the government can do that, do you want to trust their words now? No! Now, NDA also said that on the blogs are not part of the websites which are regulated. Now, Tan Chuan Jin did say in Talking Point that blogs, going forward, they might be regulated depending on how they evolve. So, I'll leave it to you as to how you want to decide.
I'd also like to add that it's not simply a matter of trust. Because if it's just a matter of trust, then our freedom of speech will not be enshrined as a fundamental liberty in our constitution that the government cannot take away from us, no matter what, unless they amend the constitution itself.
I think Sun already said what I want to say. I'm from the gay community, so my comment is that the government should just come out of the closet. True and true. And we are used to the government telling us, oh, this law, we won't use it against you, but it's there. So the same thing is happening to the Broadcasting Act. So, I'm sure we all know what they're going to do next.
These type of assurances are not worth the paper it's printed on. You know why? What if the government change? Then you got a new minister. Then what?
I think that comment by Jacob was a very silly one, because our freedom to express ourselves should not be up to the minister, the magnanimity of the minister or the government, but it should be a fundamental right. So we have honesty to come out and say that, hey, it should not be dependent on whether you prosecute us or penalize us or whatever not, but we have the honesty to come out and say that to express ourselves is our fundamental right, and we want to do that.
Hi, Doctor again. I'm going to ask you a question and you'll probably laugh. Okay? I know that the online community is very against the mainstream media. But in this particular case, I'm not so sure that the mainstream media isn't also not very pleased with the ruling. Have you ever considered at all holding out a little finger to the mainstream media and asking them to collaborate or join hands? Thank you for laughing.
Good try.
If the mainstream media would collaborate with us, it would be a dream come true. We are not against the mainstream media. We are against the silencing of mainstream media. So instead of silencing online also, so everybody is silent, we've always stood for opening up mainstream media so it can finally be what it's supposed to be, and all the good mainstream media journalists can finally do the job they're supposed to do.
Don't waste your time. Maybe ask the mainstream what they have to say about it. Don't sell your soul.
If you are Singaporean, I think I also echo Elaine's point that we're not against mainstream press, we're against the government's heavy-handed regulation of the mainstream press. In fact, I think in the WikiLeaks cable that was highlighted by Elaine herself, the US State Department actually reported that the mainstream media want to be on our side, but they cannot because of the controls that the government puts on them.
Shame.
But how come you didn't ask the minister this question on Tuesday night? Okay, to answer your question, there has been increasing collaboration between the mainstream and online media, and I tell you why. All these online editors are slave drivers. My friends ask me, how come you're so busy nowadays? When the press release is at 3 o'clock, they want me to give the analysis by 8 p.m. before the mainstream media come out. Why? This is called collaboration with mainstream media, so that the mainstream media has an alternative view, so when the news come out next day, it's better news, it's the right thing. It's increasing collaboration. Believe me, I cannot say anymore. My lips are sealed.
Okay, thank you. I think we are going to take the last few questions now. Anybody? You sure you have a question?
I'm going on Sean's thread on watching Watchmen, and I'm wondering if any of the community blogs or maybe individual bloggers themselves are willing to actually sign on to maybe a voluntary code of ethics so that they can be responsible themselves in an open manner. Would that be happen? Would that happen?
I think Arun Maharinan already answered that question at the IBS. Last year, the government tried to push through the code of conduct thingy, which was about the ethics and so on. I think bloggers have almost unanimously said that, well, we have our own code of conduct for our own blogs and we can moderate ourselves, so keep your hands off the internet.
Can I just add, it happens every day as we speak, this community checking. We call each other out on bad articles, we insult each other, we troll each other, we get whacked by each other. Not everyone is on the same page. If you want to do a blackout, TIs will say we've got a different way of doing things. But you know what? That's free speech.
I tell you what's the problem with all this code of conduct. Look at town councils, also have code of conduct. Then what happened? You know, code of conduct, they say, oh, we didn't do anything wrong. Everything was legal. But, you know, it's just not the code, it's the spirit.
I also want to add, as a personal blog, there are people who comment on my blog and engage in discussions. I think these are more useful because as I discuss with people who have different views, it enriches my views, their views, and it makes our conversations and our thought processes a lot richer. This is a lot better than censorship and restricting what we are able to say or think. If we want to progress, we should encourage discussions and diverse views.
And I'd also like to add that I think, and all of us here are in agreement, the best way to get readership is to report the right things the right way. So I think that is what everyone strives hard to work for, to make sure that the things that they report on are accurate, that their opinions make logical sense, that they are reasonable. And that is the best way to actually gain readership. Because unlike what the Prime Minister said, the internet is not we are not interested in reporting half truths, because the people of Singapore are smart enough to call us out on that.
I think we also need to recognize the Free My Internet group is really a ground-up movement. So we'll be constantly responding to criticisms and feedback as well. So I mean, some of the questions are to address some of your questions.